And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, hello to everyone. It is Christmas, and we want to say a Merry Christmas to you all out there. Thank you for tuning in to the Weighing In podcast. And this is the second time I've had to say this because Podcast Dave screwed up the first one, and now I'm having to say it again. So Merry Christmas to my man, Josh Thompson, and we have a special Christmas edition, a great Christmas gift for everyone out there wanting to learn about one of the best fighters out there. We have got the mercenary AJ McKee, who is going to be taking on Satoshi in Japan on December 31st, New Year's Eve. Unbelievable experience to fight there. We're going to talk all about that. Josh, how you feeling?
Let me explain it in just one little thing. I'm feeling old, baby. I'm feeling old.
You got the gray all on the sides. See, mine's in the middle. If we put our twos together,
it's so bad.
We look like Santa Claus.
I'm so bad, man. I'm so bad. AJ, my brother, what's going on? How are you?
Oh man, another day in paradise. Eating well, you know. Got a nice ribeye. Getting prepped for dinner, and it's feeling good, man. Looking forward to the next couple weeks. I take off. Actually, technically, I'd already be in Japan, so I'm getting ready to take off, and yeah, man, go put on a great show New Year's.
So how has that training gone up to this point? Do you feel like, you know what, I've put in all the work that I need to get to that point, or is there just a little bit more necessary to get to that point?
I'm ready to fight now, Big John. I'm ready to go. You know, my dad's just torturing me day by day, and I'm counting the days like this fight ain't gonna be as hard as this damn training camp. Yeah, so
that's the way to do it.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't wait to get in there.
This is every fighter's dream. I fought on New Year's. I was the co-main event there. You're the main event there on New Year's Eve, and yeah, it's a big deal. But talk to me about how this all happened. Every fighter wants to, I mean, you listen to every fighter. They talk about the old days, right? From Pride to Dream to Glory to all the K1 kickboxing, all of the biggest events in our sport majority of them all been held in Japan on a New Year's Eve show. What was that conversation like with Scott Coker or Mike Hogan, whoever gave you the call and said, hey, you know, like, we're looking to do this with a co-promotion and we want you to be on it?
Well, I believe like 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years after I had fought in Hawaii. I talked to Mr. Croker and I was like, yo, like Japan, like for real, like bucket list. Like I don't care about anything else. Like
sign me up.
Rules, like sign me up. And the following year I didn't get a chance. I forgot who they took, but I was butthurt. I'm like, man, why does this person get to go? They fucking suck, you know? Yeah, don't take them. So I was a little emotionally hurt about it, but as soon as I got the call, they were like, well, do you want to fight in Japan? I was like, yeah, done. Like, say
done,
less.
Son.
Done. Like, don't care who it is, when it is, what it is. Like, sign me up. And, yeah, man, it's just the opportunity of a lifetime for me. It takes me back to just, like, those backyard brawl days, you know what I mean? You got the elbows, you got the soccer kicks, so for me, it's an opportunity to just go out there and let my barbaric side out a little bit and show the people what a real mercenary is capable of. You know what I mean? Like, I get to stomp this man in his face and I don't get in trouble for it. Like, what?
Okay, let me ask you this, because first off, what did you know when they said the name Roberto de Souza? Did you actually know? Have you actually watched him before that time? Or was this someone you go, I don't even know who that is?
No, I had no idea who he was, but I just knew it was pretty much our best versus their best. So when they came with that and me moving up to 155 pounds, I was like, say less. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who it is. I don't really care. And then going and watching a couple of his fights, he's high-level jiu-jitsu black belt. So, yeah, that's, you know, I think it's going to be intriguing because, you know, with my wrestling background and then his jiu-jitsu, and then obviously I have a jiu-jitsu background. I wouldn't say I'm a fifth-degree black belt or something crazy, you know what I mean? But MMA wrestling and MMA jiu-jitsu is completely different. Mm-hmm. So he's nice, you know. He's got some good things in his arsenal, but I'm looking forward to opening up the side of my arsenal that I've always dreamed of since I was a kid. So I don't think we're playing jiu-jitsu games.
All right. So this is the second part of my question is, in actuality, and I'm saying this with, complete honesty, the guys from Bellator are at a bit of a disadvantage. And the fact that it is in a ring, which is different, it's a different type of bounce and everything that you have in there. You can do things differently in a ring than you can in a cage. There's some things you can do in the cage that you can't do in the ring. And also that rule set, everybody that's on that Rizin, coming from Rizin, they're used to those rules. That's how they practice. That's how they play. And they don't have to think about, I can do this or I can't. It's just automatic. Do you think that you're going to be able to just automatically be in that position and no problem, dude? I know I can kick, I can knee, I can stomp. Doesn't matter to the head. Any position the head's in, I can attack in any way. Elbows doesn't matter. Whatever elbow strike it is, 12-6 doesn't matter. I think that's just going to come naturally to you.
Yeah, I got a feeling.
I love it.
It's something I've dreamed of since I was a kid. I've always watched it. So, like the soccer kicks, I would say the big thing is just getting acclimated in the ring. That's going to be a big factor, especially with myself being a takedown artist. And usually I tend to take people down off of the cage, I'll take a lazy shot, get them against the cage, and then once I got them against the cage, I already know I got you on the ground. I'll take you down at will. So in a ring, it's going to be a bit different. I can't use the cage. There's nothing to hoist his body up unless I get him in the corner. So for me, I think it's going to be a bit different. But once again, this is a fight where his jiu-jitsu is sick. I'm looking forward to testing it out, playing in his waters a little bit. But for the most part, I think this is going to be a fight where I'm just trying to knock his head off his shoulders. And, I've noticed some things. He doesn't like pressure. He gets hit a little bit and then he goes in for a shot or he'll pull guard. And from my memory, since I was a kid, if you don't get that takedown and the person tells you to stand up, you better stand up.
Yes, you do.
Pulling guard. Japan don't like that. So, for me, I don't think his wrestling is that great. I've been wrestling since I was 4 years old. So for me, wrestling's my key. That's my key to victory. When I know, all right, something's not going well on the feet, I could take someone down. But for this fight, man, I'm looking forward to going out here and pulling some new arsenal out. I think getting caught at a bad shot is a bad idea, because those knees to the head. So that's something I've been really working a lot of, is just stuffing shots and
can't put yourself in the same positions.
Yeah, so I don't know. In practice, I'm kicking people in the face while they're on the ground. It's fun.
I'm sure your partners love that.
No, they see my foot in their face and they're like, "Oh," and I'm like, "It's okay. I'm not going to kick you,"
Yeah.
But like in the fight, it's full force, like full send all the way.
Speaking of, who are your training partners right now for this?
Same people. Joey Davis. We got a young roster. Honestly, we got a lot of amateur guys in there. They're just hungry, up and coming. We got Jake Babian. He's got, I believe, 2 titles right now. I call these other young cats Thing 1, Thing 2, because they're always talking smack to each other, fighting each other. I had them literally. I was like, go until there's a submission. Shut up. I don't want to hear anything else. So they're always in there getting it. We just have a young roster, man. I've been training with this guy named Dallas. He's another AMI guy. We just, my dad, man. He takes the young guys and he breeds them into what he wants. And if they got the mindset and the heart, then a champion you'll be.
What, in terms of what are your expectations when you get there? Expectations once you get there, because my expectations were the crowd's gonna go wild, which they do for about 10 seconds. And then you've got to adjust to all of that. Like, your walkout, it's like they go nuts when they announce your name. And then as you walk down, it's kind of crickets. Have you thought about and prepared yourself for those type of things? Because we're used to just the crowd being nuts the whole time and going crazy. It does play a little bit, for me, it did play a little bit of a mind trick on me.
Yeah, practice. COVID, baby.
Yeah.
Practice.
That's
I
true
had practice,
as well.
man. Honestly, I genuinely liked fighting under COVID just because I could hear everything my father said. So, being able to hear his voice, you know what I mean? And at the same time, I feel like it shows who's the real dog in there. You know what I mean? Who really wants it more? You know, there's no one cheering you on. It's how bad do you want it?
Mhm.
So just the level of respect that comes from Japan and the way that they cherish the sport. You know, they're very respectful. You're not gonna hear any booing. You'll hear cheering occasionally. So if you hear cheering, you know you're doing something right. So that's something I'm excited for it, man. My dad's always told me since I was a kid. He's like, man, he's like, you're gonna like it, and he's like, you're gonna be able to hear me while I'm cornering you. So
Yeah.
you know, having a master chess player while playing chess is gonna be fun.
Yeah, my fight in Pride, and just to give you a little bit of what you can hear, is had it been probably in the States where the crowds were, I probably would have lost that fight because I got stuck in a real deep armbar in the first probably like minute and a half, 2 minutes of the fight. And I was able to kind of like hitchhike her out. But as he went belly down and I was kind of belly down as well, I could hear Bob Cook telling me, just put the hands on the feet, push them off the face. Had that not been, I probably would have been a little bit more of a panic mode, but you could hear it crystal clear. Hands on the feet, push off the face, start stepping over the body. You heard everything. So I think it will make a huge difference. It might be a little eerie at first, but it does make a big difference in terms of hearing instructions. Now, the other thing is, has anyone ever told you, don't eat the bento box?
That's me.
Okay.
Don't eat the bento
Don't eat
box.
the food. Don't eat the food in the locker
I
room.
don't care what they give you. Don't eat it.
Don't
No,
eat it.
yeah, definitely not.
Bring your own food to the locker rooms. Don't eat their food. That's
bento
one.
box.
And
Don't
two
eat
is
the bento box, baby.
and two is the biggest mistake I made was I allowed them to tell me when I was going to the venue. Because what they will do is they will take you there 5
9 o'clock
hours
in the morning.
They'll take you there 5 hours before you're supposed to, before the
Oh, yeah,
fucking
that's
card
not
even
happening.
starts.
Oh, no, yeah. They're 5 hours
Before the
before,
card starts.
the first fight.
Before the first fight. So we got there at like 6 o'clock at night. I didn't fight till, we got there at like 10 a.m.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and I didn't fight till
11 o'clock at
almost 4:35 in the morning in the States. But yeah, I fought at midnight. I fought like 11:10, something like that. Because
Now,
then they
hold,
had the
just
main
so
event.
you know, your opponent's not coming in at that time.
No, they're not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
Look, I
I'll show
love.
up when the main card starts.
I loved working in Japan. I loved doing fights there, but I saw that it's one of those, the whole thing of, the honor and everything. Yep, they're into the honor, but boy, they're into cheating too. So you got to be smart about it. All right, let's talk about your opponent. Is a guy I was doing some checking. He's actually rated right now in the lightweights above you. Did you know that? Yeah,
Nah,
don't give me them eyes. I'm telling you
I
the
don't pay
truth.
attention to rankings anymore. They're all a facade to me, bro.
They are,
Honestly,
dude.
McCarthy.
So Patty Pillman's above you too. So, anyways, yeah, but let's be honest. This guy's got a special skill set when it comes to the ground. You have been known for your wrestling and your submission game because you got submissions named after you. You got the McKee and things like that. But it's a matter of, do you want to play with that great white shark in the water, or do you want to pull him up on the land and drown him? That's my question, because it's not, you got to be smart. Being a good fighter is about being a smart fighter.
I think I'm going to do a little bit of both. I think once I hit his ass, he's going to realize he's in for a fight, and then we might end up on the ground maybe. I don't know. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, I don't mind taking him down. I've been training a lot with Jeremiah Hill.
Yep.
Hill or Hall? Hill. Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of jiu-jitsu with him, and I feel prepared, We just put myself in bad positions, and we go live over and over and over and over. Triangles, arm bars, key locks, and it's always different when you're getting punched in the face.
Yes, it is.
I've watched him throw a lot of triangles. I watched a lot of his fights, and no one's really punching him in his face yet. So I think once we get to that ground and he feels the wrestling control and things aren't going to really start to go his way, and then he's going to feel the pressure that he's usually applying to people. I think that's going to be the big game changer, and then he's just going to start to sink.
Everyone I've talked to said that he's a pretty big guy for the weight class, and you and I were talking off, or the three of us were talking off air. And you said you walk around about 73, 75, somewhere in there. That's kind of around where I used to walk around. You're not considered a big lightweight anymore in these days at that weight class. Back in the day, you were, not so much now. Now, obviously, you're still young, still putting the size on, and doing it very cautiously, making sure your body takes to it before putting on too much muscle. But are you concerned at all about the size?
No, I mean, the last dude I fought came back 183 pounds. So, not so much.
Spike put on some poundage in there, didn't he?
He came back big. That was a big boy. When I tried to lift him up, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is a big boy."
Not to mention he's a redheaded man. He's a redheaded ninja, so he's a ginger. And they strong, man. They strong and heavy and just
strong and heavy.
Yeah,
limber as well
and tough as hell. I couldn't
get him off my wrist, man. His 2-on-1 was pretty strong. So, I don't know. I think it's little things like that, but just, I mean, when you got a guy like Joey Davis and you're grappling with him and having him lay on you every day, I don't think. You're not going to find much worse than that. You know what I mean? And that's a 170-pounder. So I can't really see it. Oh, and we got Yosef for striking. So, yeah, we got some big guys in there. I've upped from rolling with the 45ers and the 55ers to the 70 and 80 pounders. So, I'm trying to walk them down all the time.
Are you staying at 55 now? This is where you're at? This is your home?
Perhaps, more than likely.
Perhaps that's not an answer. Perhaps is not an answer.
He just pushed. He just pushed.
That means you're guilty. Come on.
I mean, once again, I feel this trilogy has to happen, man. 1-1, and I wasn't happy with the results. So, like I said, I got to make an example out of the pit bull again one last time. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. This is. He's talking. Pinochet's talking about going to fucking 35s and all this other stuff. It's like, what the? Piscacci, bro. This dude, bro. Fucking ran with my title, bro. This guy.
All of that being said, and I know that this is a big deal for Bellator, the cross promotion with Rizin, but then also knocking on the door is CBS. I know you wanted to get on that card. Who knows? Maybe if you come out of this one unscathed, they'll push you in there because it is in LA. It's right in your neck of the woods. But all of that though it sounds like they may be trying to start that lightweight tournament, World Grand Prix, coming up early. And I know obviously that you're going to be on it or you want to be on it. But if you had to pick out of all of those, who would you want to take first?
I want my title, man. Usman then.
Oh, you want Usman off the beginning?
Dude, yeah, when I signed up for the 145-pound tournament, I proved myself the entire way through the tournament. I told everybody I'm going to finish everybody. So stepping into another tournament, I have to prove myself again. I mean, I have no problem doing that. I'm a black horse riding person. You know what I mean? I'm the Dark Knight every time, and I'm coming to ruin your show. But at the end of the day, like, I got one goal. You know what I mean? If I could have had Pitbull the first round, I'd have took him out the first round. So for me, it really doesn't matter who it is. I'm just looking forward to going in there, putting on a great show, and claiming what's mine.
When you look at that lightweight tournament, if that's something that you want to be in, I know you'll be in it. But when you look at it, you went through the featherweight tournament, and it was a 16-man, 4 rounds. This one would be 8-man, 3 rounds. So you take a look at that. Is that, you think that even works out better for you, or it really doesn't matter? It's just one less fight, one more fight the other way.
One less fight. That's all it is to me.
When you look at the lightweight division for Bellator, you got Usman at the top. Obviously, you would like to have that fight first. Then you got Patricky Pitbull, who you fought his brother Patricio. Then you got Tofik Musayev, who's got a win over Patricky. Benson Henderson being the legend that he is. And then you've got Alexander Shabley out of American Top Team. Just a stud boxer, good takedown defense, pretty decent ground game. Brent Primus good on the ground. Islam Mamedov. And then you got yourself, AJ McKee at number 8, Peter Quilley and Robotinov. Out of all those guys, in terms of, can you give me 2 guys that you're like, hey, sure, I know what you're going to say. I can beat them. But which ones do you look at them and go, you guys are good?
I would say Benson, man. Since I was a kid, I've watched Benson put on great fights, and just stylistically, I feel like that'd be a hell of a matchup. His style versus my style. It would be an entertaining fight for the fans, He's just like myself. He's well-rounded, striking, ground-wise, and he's just everywhere, he's good, There's not too many loopholes in his game, but I don't know. I just feel like that would always be a fun fight. Another one. I mean, the rest of them, the other Russian dude, he's just big. And then what was it? Peter Quilly, he's big. These are big boys. You know what I mean? We got some big boys in there.
When you
they
picked
say,
out
the bigger the tree, the harder it falls.
when you picked out Usman, everyone, obviously, look, he's the champ now. He's going to have the target on his back, but he is not like his relative in Habib. He fights completely different. He can wrestle still. He's got good wrestling, but he likes to go about the fight very similar to the way you like to fight. He will use the wrestling. You will use the wrestling, but he likes to be in the stand-up. You tend to like to be in the stand-up, and he'll pull off a submission, and you'll pull off the submission. You guys are very, very similar. Why is it you would say that's the guy I would like to go after first?
I think it's the fight that everybody wants to see.
Okay.
It's the fight everybody wants to see on top of, I want to give him a test. I don't feel he's been really tested yet. Patricky, he's not a champ to me. He was gifted that belt from his brother, early Christmas present. To be a champion, you must beat a champion. So that's body shop 101. You ain't beat a champ, you're not a champ. So Patricky was never a champ to me. I mean, if he wants to avenge his brother's 2-0 loss, I mean, I still feel it's 2-0. But if he don't want to fight me, one of these damn dogs got to go on a walk, man. You know what I mean? So for Usman, I think stylistically it's just a good fight. We both have the wrestling. We both, I would be intrigued to see that fight. I feel I have the advantage on the feet, though. But wrestling-wise, it's someone, maybe he can neutralize my wrestling. Maybe I can neutralize his wrestling. And then once we get to the ground, we've seen him pull off some nice submissions, and we've seen me pull off nice submissions. So I feel like we match up pretty equally once it comes to wrestling and on the ground. So it'd be a fun fight.
It'd be an awesome fight. I would love to see it. When you take a look at this Rizin versus Bellator thing, is there anything about it that you look at and you go, man, what makes it exciting for me is this? Or is it just, it's another fight, but it's a fight I get to do in Japan?
For me, it's the fact I get to throw soccer kicks and
fighting in a different rule set.
Yeah, it's the different rules.
Yeah.
It's the knees to the head, the soccer kicks. I wish the belt was on the line. You know me, I'm always about the belts. I'm always about the titles. So I wish there was a belt on the line. Maybe I could work something out. He wins, I'll give him my belt. And I win, he gives me his belt. So that way I come home with a belt. But I don't think he's going to do that. I'm a risk taker, man.
You always have been. Okay, I've known you too long. When you guys were in Japan for that press conference and you guys faced off, was there anything you looked at and said, "Yeah, not a problem"? Yeah.
Nah, he was trying to strike a little fear in me with his super stare, but it was
got
cool,
the super
man.
stare.
It was a super stare. I felt it. I was like, "Oh, this guy's trying to look in my soul."
Ooh.
I was like, "This is gonna be fun."
Serious.
Yeah.
What about Japan, outside of just watching in the old days, that really intrigues you about fighting there?
Just the fans, the culture. Just from the samurais to everything. It's just that warrior spirit. It's in the culture there. You go out on your shield. There's no tapping. They don't. You tap, bro. I mean, if it's an armbar, understood. But if you're in a choke, you better go to sleep, bro. That's the glory in it. That's the pride of who you are as a warrior. You know what I mean? If I'm ever caught in a choke, I'm not tapping. I'm going to sleep. Like, smack me and wake me up. I'll have a good nap. Other than that,
One of the things you have to do when you go to Japan, they do have a museum of the samurai with all their old armor and the swords and everything. You got to go see it. It's awesome.
Okay.
It's amazing how small they were. I was like, Jesus. I mean, small, but
yeah.
They even have the armor for the horses and stuff. You go, even the horses weren't that big. No. When in looking at the other matchups that are on this card, I don't know how much you know about the guys from Rizin. You know, obviously, Patricio. Have you ever watched Kleber Koike, fight. Never seen him fight at all.
I haven't heard of it.
What is wrong with you? Are you not part of this sport? You don't care. I love it.
If I don't care, man.
If I ain't fighting him, I don't care.
Show up and let's fight. That's my mindset. If you're not potentially standing in front of me, or you're not standing in front of me, you have no relevance to what I'm even trying to accomplish. Until you're in front of me and you're a pawn in this game, I got to remove you. And if you're just over there talking, I'm gonna ignore you. I don't got time for your jibber jabber. Like, hop in line, bro.
I find that's common though for a lot of fighters, John, is that I never really paid attention to anybody except for people in my weight class. It didn't bother me. It didn't concern me. I knew I was never going to fight another weight class. It was like, until you come on up, then we'll talk about it. But I think fighters are very just laser focused on who they know and on what's coming up in their weight class. And that's it. Okay, look, I'm number 9. Okay, I'm trying to get to number 6 so I can get to number 2 or 3 and then title shot. They're laser focused on that as the majority of the time is what I see. Correct?
Pretty much. Yeah. If you got that strap,
when you take a look at the rankings, like Bellator's rankings, because they drive me crazy. I'm sorry. They just drive me freaking up the wall. When you take a look at them and you're sitting at number 8 and you see all these guys ahead of you, do you kind of pick those guys out? I'm going to take you. I'm going to go past you. Or is it like, yeah, they're ahead of me. It won't be for long. I don't care.
Pretty much. I mean, I feel like the rankings are irrelevant, especially with the talks of a tournament. So if there's talks of the tournaments, rankings, like I said, the last tournament, we're all going in that tournament 0-0. And who's going to come out 3-0? That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all that matters.
I don't want to get into it too much, but
just a little bit.
I'm going to get into it a little bit.
Just a tip.
You're towards the end of your contract, and we've got CBS coming up, we got the tournaments coming up, and how's it coming? How's it coming? That's all. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Look at that smile on his face.
I don't know, bro.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that.
Fight, man. I'm trying to fight, yo.
All right.
Then let me try to fight, man. Then let me. That's another reason. That's why I took this fight in Japan, because we're just. I don't know. I just want to fight, man. I'm trying to fight as much as possible. At 27 years old, I'm in my prime. I'm trying to fight at least 3-4 times a year. If I'm knocking people out in 2 minutes, like, I need to be back in there within a month. Like, this is my drug, dude. This is what I've lived for since I was a kid. Like, taking away fighting from me is like taking my life away. I really don't know what else I'd be doing. Like, after every fight, I'm back in the gym the following week. I know what the medical papers say, 30 days. Fuck 30 days. I'm going back to the gym. I'm going to show everybody in the gym what it takes to be a champ and why I'm the best in the world.
Don't tell anyone that. AJ, don't tell anyone that. I follow that 30-day thing all the time.
Yeah.
I always follow that 30-day thing. If it was 90, I'd follow that too.
I follow it, but I'm just there watching.
Yeah.
I'm there watching for the first 30 days.
But let me ask you this. Like, you have grown up in the world of MMA. Your dad was a fighter. He was a great fighter. He was more limited in his style than you are. You are a more well-rounded MMA fighter. He was a wrestling-centric fighter. But, your dad, had a very successful career. You have had an incredibly successful career. But what is it that is important to AJ McKee? Is it the fame? Is it the money? Is it the titles? What is it that and look, this is what's the most important thing to me.
What is
for
it?
Me?
Yeah, for you.
Yeah.
Well, that's a tough one, because it started as I want to be known as the best fighter in the world.
Okay.
And then it got to a point where once I won the title, I was like, dude, you already know you're the best fighter in the world. Fuck what everybody's talking about. Like, you know what you're capable of. Then it became, all right, well, I want to make sure my family gets the recognition that they deserve in the sport. My father I'm the only second generation fighter that's making noise. Like, ain't nobody making noise like me. So when that came along the lines, I was like, all right, so what are you using as motivation? And then I'm like, I don't want my kids fighting. but obviously
Okay.
they're gonna fight. You know what I mean?
They're
Then
gonna
it
do
became
what it is they fall in love with, and that's okay.
exactly, yeah. So then it became all right. You just made $1 million. That $1 million opened my eyes up to a different world. And when it opened my eyes up to a different world, I was like, yo, this is just the beginning, bro. Like, I want to make sure my kids never have to work. You know what I mean? Whatever they do, they're gonna do from their heart. You know what I mean? And because they love it. There was a time where I was fighting just because bills had to be paid. You know what I mean? Like I was in the cage thinking I don't want to be in here right now. That's a fucked up feeling to have.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody. I don't want any of my family members. I got a 16-year-old brother and a 5-year-old brother who are both in the gym. So it's like for them, I want them to fight because they love fighting, not because they need the money or anything. So for me, I would say now it's to be the most paid fighter in the world. You know what I mean? Floyd did that 100 mil mark. So me always calling myself the Floyd Mayweather of MMA, still feeling I'm undefeated in life. I don't give a fuck about a record no more. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just being the best person you can be, helping those around you, motivating those around you, the next generations up to come, and just pushing people to be better, man. I feel like the stigma of fighters being these just rough, hard people, like we're some of the most loving
You know
people in
that
the
ain't the
world.
truth.
Yeah, it's like I've got the biggest heart in the world, dude. So it's like I want to see the people around me do good. You know what I mean? I want my mom to have a house. I want my dad to have a house. I want a house. You know what I mean? I want a wife with kids. Like I'm starting to think of my future, but with my future, this isn't going to be something I'm doing until I'm 40. Like for 100 mil, maybe
Okay.
for 100 mil, maybe. You know what I mean? Money talks. Money talks.
So maybe, possibly, probably, 100
30,
mil. Oh,
35, I'm out. 35, I'm out.
yeah, I've heard that one. I've heard that one a lot.
I'm telling you, 35, I'm out. I'm going to take a break at 30 and relax and just chill a little bit, enjoy the fruits of my labor. And then if I feel the need to come back, I'm going to come back. I'm going to have an itch. So after like 31, I'll probably come back and then put another good 4 years running and be done by 35, man. Because by that time, let's see, I'm 27. So 3 years from now, it's 8 years. My 16-year-old brother, he'll be
24.
prime in his career. Yeah, he'll be prime in his career. And my 5-year-old brother will be on his way to being the first youngest world champ in the world at like 18.
What about so with your dad, right? Long story short, I was supposed to fight him several times. I ducked the shit out of him. I was like, nah, I'm good, bro.
Smart man.
I'm good, bro. I'm good. No, we were supposed to fight a couple times. I think we were supposed to fight an American Athlete. Remember that show? That it was like the one that got shut down at the
it was right before IFL.
Palm Desert, yeah. So that, and then we were supposed to fight again, I think in King of the Cage, like once or twice. And then I got signed to the UFC, and I'm like, nah, I ain't fighting you ever until you get in here. Nope. But what is it about him that draws that out of you and like your brothers?
I mean, well, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in without him. Day in, day out, he pushes me, he motivates me. He's taught me everything I know. People ask, who's your striking coach? My dad. Well, who's your wrestling coach? My dad. Who's your jiu-jitsu coach? My dad. I mean, he's worked side by side with a few people, but for the most part, my father's taught me everything I know. And I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in. I know the ins and outs of this game as well as McCarthy. I know the good secrets, the bad secrets. I know everything about MMA. And so does my dad.
That's because your dad and I talk about him all the time.
Well, you're the only person he can talk to him about now.
I know.
I told him, I'm like, dude, you gotta keep your fucking mouth shut, bro. You're gonna get me into some shit. So he's humbled himself a lot, man. From who he used to be to who he is now. He's taken a big chill pill, and it's for me to be able to go out and showcase myself, have my own personality, and be my own man in my own sport. And I think that's one of the most things that I appreciate the most about him is that he's allowing me to take my course and do it the way that I want, and even if I'm wrong, he's going to support me, I go do something dumb, he's still going to support me, that's my father. And that's just It's my dad, man.
Well, he's chilled out because like your dad, like myself as well, we're old as hell now. So we don't have
No, you don't.
we don't have it. We're running
That's
out of
why
energy,
you don't
bro.
understand the McKee blood, bro.
Oh, gee, he's still going. He's still going.
Bro, he's still going. He's in the gym causing havoc still. This man is a menace. Like,
That's
he's
so funny.
Non-stop, bro. He's having another kid, by the way. So we're gonna have.
Oh, you gotta be kidding! He didn't even tell me that.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I didn't tell you.
Oh,
I put it out
Christ.
there.
I have got
the record.
dude.
The McKees can't stop, bro.
I'm going after him.
John, no pun intended. Maybe you should bust his balls.
Oh, I think just a little bit.
Just be done with it, bro. Be done with it. Let me help you with this.
I was talking to him today. He didn't say anything about, I got another one on the way, too.
Oh, shit.
Well, until I find somewhere to drop my seed, he's going to keep doing it for me, you know?
Man.
Well, I will say this. He is infamous for how many he has done that with. Yeah, he is a handful.
He's doing it right now, though, man. You got to give him the respect.
Oh, no, he is.
He's doing it right.
He's doing great.
Out hoeing. He's got one wife, one woman. He's been with the same woman for the past 8 years.
Go ahead and say it.
Go ahead and say
it. It's amazing.
It is. I'm proud of him, man.
I'm going to ask you this because it's a weird situation, and I went through it kind of with my dad to a point because my dad, always helped me and stuff. In the fight game, wrestling, everything, there comes that point where when your dad works out with you like your dad does, he works out with you constantly. There was that point where all of a sudden he wasn't able to do the same things, and it changed. And all of a sudden he wasn't the best. He wasn't able to beat you. I know how I felt, and I felt horrible the first time that I really put it on my dad. It was like I was joking, but I saw that he was trying. And if I could take anything back that I ever had with my dad, it was that moment that I was putting it on him, and then I realized, oh, he's really trying. And I got him up and said, hey, man, I'm sorry, right? And he said, oh, no. What was it like with you? And when you finally had that moment, you went, I'm better than my dad.
That's when I just had to humble myself, You just see, I'm always watching him in the gym. Because I'll be watching everybody else. You go hard on my dad, I'm going to fuck you up. Period.
Good.
I'm going to fuck who you are.
Good. You continue with that.
Get ready for an ass whooping.
Good.
And it's going to be day after day after day. But it was, I would say, the last time he was helping me with my rounds for Spike. And I took him down, and he hit his he landed weird in between the cage, and he messed his shoulder up. And I was just like, I felt so bad, dude. I was like, fuck, dude. I took him down, and he fell in between the cage and his shoulder. It did something weird, and I just felt so bad, dude. I'm like, fuck, that wasn't what I was trying to do, damn it. And I still now, man, I feel bad about it. So and he tells me, he's like, I can't mess with you no more, young buck. And I'm like, come on, dad, just roll technique, out of everybody in the gym, I'd rather you roll with me than anybody else, So I roll with him, but he's a little jacked up right now. So I'm like, and him, dude, he was not going to the fucking doctor.
Oh,
bro.
God, no.
He's like, I'm healing myself. I'm like, yeah, you're getting better, bro, but I want you to be 100 again, So now I'm starting to see the stress that I put on him all the years. It's coming back full circle now, but there's nothing like him, man. He's got so much knowledge in the sport that if you're trying to go hard with him, bro, you're going to piss me off. So I tell everybody in the gym, dude, be careful with my antique. You hurt him, I'm going to hurt you.
My antique. Oh,
that's my antique, bro. That's got all the fucking knowledge. Everything I know is in that man, and everything that I need to learn is still in that man. And even from the coaching aspect,
Don't mess with my muse.
Nah, man. I have to learn how to become a great coach, The same way how Khabib has learned to become a great coach from his father. He's learned the techniques. And that's why I feel he stepped away from fighting now, is so that he can be a great coach to the full potential that he has. And there's going to be a time in a day that I'm going to have to do the same thing. So I want to make sure that when that time comes, I'm able to still be like, hey, Dad, come here. You know what I mean? Grab his old ass and put him on the mat and roll around with him and move him around a little bit, you know?
When you look at the direction of this co-promotion with Bellator and Rizin, and then you look at CBS is coming up, you get the lightweight tournament, there's a lot of action going on in your weight class as of right now, and there's a lot of big-time promotion stuff going on. Do you look at it and go like, look, this is the growth that we're expecting, you know, and finally, you know, looking to get some media coverage, okay, by all of them to cover this. This is an historic event. This is the biggest co-promotion between two promotions with their biggest stars, with some of their biggest stars, but mainly their biggest stars, champions versus champion or number one contenders versus, you know, champion, whatever it is. Then you have the CBS, the first time Bellator's ever been on CBS. Does it make you feel good about the direction of which, you know, over where everything is headed?
Definitely. Just along the lines of, since I was a kid, you know, organizations being organization, there's always been a question of who has the best fighters, where are the best fighters. So to me, unifying the belts and being able to bring all the fighters together and see who the best of the best is, this is an opportunity for me to go out there and showcase my skills and show that this is the McKee show. This is the mercenary show, and we're here doing what we do best, and that's kicking ass, taking names.
The one thing I've got to ask is, have you watched the Bantamweight Grand Prix that has taken place? Have you watched Rafion Stotts and Danny Sabatello and all those fights? Did you watch Patchy Mix and Magomed Magomedov last Friday? Didn't watch it at all. I was gonna say, what are you thinking as far as the depth of what you're seeing? Because when you came into Bellator, the lighter weights were just not that good, and they've progressively just gotten better and better to where you take a look at the 135s, the 45s, and now the 55s are stacked.
I've seen glimpses of the guys, from Stotts to I've seen them. I'm not intrigued, you know. For me, they're not on my radar because it's not
someone you're gonna fight.
It's not someone I can fight, you know. The 55ers, here and there I watch, you know, just to keep my eye in the loop of who's doing what and what's going on. But for the most part, nah, I'm honed in and ready to go.
Look, there's a lot of controversy going around right now in terms of judging.
All right,
here we go.
Tell us what the fuck, who's winning the round at the end of the round?
You want open scoring.
You want open
scoring. I don't care how you score it. Just open scoring. You tell me I'm down 3-2, somebody's getting knocked the hell out.
Okay. So I'm going to
3-1, somebody's getting knocked out.
I'm going to tell you that you're up 4-0.
I'm going to take him down.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Hey, but
that's the problem.
It depends.
No, that's the problem. That's the truth. You answered. Look, you answered that perfectly because you were honest. You were truthful, and I don't blame you.
But
he got you, bro. He got you.
I'm not gonna go straight to a takedown.
Yes, you are.
You're gonna circle, wait for him to overcommit, then get the easy takedown.
Because I know he's gonna be expecting me to take him down.
And you'll be looking up at the clock, going tick tock, tick tock,
tick tock.
And that, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, is why we don't have open scoring. Thank you,
That is exactly why.
Thank you.
But look, okay. I feel like so this is like what my dad always tells me too. He's like, all right, you got $2 million fight online. Well, I don't really care who's winning. I'm going to put on a show at that point. Because this is, you're entertaining people. You know what I mean?
It's supposed to be.
So if you're going in there and you're just going to leave it all in there, everyone can be bought at a certain price, in other words. So for me to go out there and put it all on the line, it's gonna, shit. Like, I'm gonna get punched in the face. I'm gonna lose some fucking brain cells, and potentially I'm not gonna be able to continue my life the way that I do. There's gonna be a time where this gets hit and it goes.
That's right.
So if I'm gonna go put that on the line, just compensate me for it, because I'm a warrior. I'm gonna go out there and lay it all on the line. Or I'm going to do like what I did my last fight, you know. I'm going to lace him up on the feet. All right, cool. He's getting hit a few times. Damn, this dude's taking everything. Well, time to go to the ground, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I'll just keep bashing your face in from there.
But that's okay.
But
if you're busy bashing their face in, that's okay. But the problem is,
people want knockouts.
People want excitement, and they pay. Look, they pay for it. It's you gotta look, man. This is the guy he's the mechanic down the street. He's putting his hard-earned money to watch you fight. You know, to buy a ticket and to buy a ticket for his wife or his son or his daughter. It's a lot, man. It's a lot to go do that, and then to have not you, but a fighter say, "Oh, I'm up in this fight. I'm just going to take it easy." Man, you have people that paid for you to do what you do because it's special and you can't take it away from them.
Yeah. And that comes down to the mindset too. There's a lot of people, I don't think they have that mindset, you know, like that Japanese. All right, I'm not tapping. I'm going to sleep. It's not too many people that really have that mindset, you know? So it's a little bit different when you're talking along those lines, you know? There's been some fights like the Brian Moore fight. I knew I was down. I didn't think I was down, but I was like, it's 1-1 right now, and you're in his home turf.
That's right.
I blocked everything my dad set out, everything. I'm like, I looked up, and my dad's like, hey, this is now. And I'm like, go out. I literally thought to myself, go out and don't stop swinging until one of you goes down. And I dropped him with a left, and I was like, oh, and I got on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just that mindset, you know, you got to have that in there. And some people, once they go through that once or twice, you know, and that's why I love Rory McDonald so much, man. Like when you talk about heart of a warrior, heart of a lion, Rory is literally the pinnacle of that to me.
Yeah.
You know, he's that dude. When he fought Robbie, I was like, favorite fighter. Don't give a shit who else, what else. Like, that's my guy. Like, it's just that mindset, you know, whether you have the skill set or not, you know, it's what comes from here, you know. Sometimes your mind, I saw an interview the other day, your mind is very powerful. It's one of the most powerful things in your body, but your heart is the most powerful thing in your body. Because when your mind, when stuff's rough and it's just not going right, and your mind's like, this isn't working out, dude. Your heart wants to keep going if you truly love what you're doing, and that's what makes the difference.
Your heart will
you know?
keep going.
Yeah, it will.
Only your
and
mind
that's what makes the
only
difference.
Your mind's going to make you stop.
And that's the difference right there. So not too many people fight from their heart, you know, and that's why it's like, okay, oh, the money. They're fighting for the money, for the title. Nah, man, you got to fight for your heart because this is what you want, and you want to prove to yourself, and let alone everyone else, but to yourself most of all, that I'm the baddest man walking this planet. Period.
When Rory came over, you were saying with the fight with him and Robbie, and then Rory came over to Bellator. What was that like to have you watch him in the Bellator cage?
Oh, it's so fanboy, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. You got Rampage fighting again. That's my uncle and everything. Yeah, whatever, uncle. You know what I mean? Rory's fighting. I'm like, yo, like, oh. Rory's, he's a good dude, man. God-fearing man, and he's a good dude, you know. Family man, takes care of his family, and he's a good dude, man.
Well,
that's
you got to look at him. He did it right. He went. Yeah. He made his name. He had the fight you're talking about at 189 in the UFC against Robbie Lawler. That is, it's up on my wall right here behind me. You can see it. It's that picture right there. Because I
feel like that's the best fight the UFC has ever had.
It is,
in my personal opinion. My personal opinion.
But you can take a look and hey, he was smart. He went to Bellator. He made good money. Then he went to the PFL and made more money. And that's what it's about. If you're a fighter, yes, the titles are good. I'm not saying they're not. But you need to make enough money to where when you decide, if it's at 35, to pull that pin, you don't have to work anymore. You're set for life, and that's what it's about. I got to ask you one question, though, because your father is one of my favorites, especially when he's in the corner. I've had some great experiences when I was refereeing. He had some of the funniest shit that I've ever heard. Emmanuel Newton was losing the fight, and he was ready to quit. Your dad slapped him. Talked about the universe, talked about everything that that Emmanuel does, and told him, he says, you are not quitting. If you quit, I am going to stand in this cage and fuck you up. Is there anything that has happened between you and your dad during a fight in the corner that you just looked at him like, did you just say that to me?
I don't think it hasn't been something he said. It's been a look.
Okay.
He's giving me that look like, let's go, son. Like, this is it. And that's when it's like, you just put your head down and you look up and it's go time, man. It's go time at that moment, He doesn't have to say anything to me. His face says it for me.
Your dad doesn't pull any punches. I don't care if it's in MMA or in boxing. I've heard him, when he was doing Anthony Taylor, he says, son, you're hitting like a powder puff.
I mean, I haven't had really any of those moments yet. I mean, he's giving me some what the hell are you doing moments, but it hasn't been I haven't had to have one of those dig deep moments, and if it is that dig deep moment, he just gives me that look. Like Ray Wood, for instance, that Ray Wood fight, he looked at me and I just saw his face. He was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Because that was a fight. I was literally in there sitting on the stool. I popped my thumb. He kneed me in the ear, split my eardrum open, and I was just like, I don't want to be in here. And then I look over at Ray Wood. He's just looking at me like a little demon baby. I'm like, oh, God, this guy wants to kill me right now. And my dad's looking at me like, yo, what are you doing? I'm surprised he didn't slap me, honestly. But he's just looking at me like, what are you doing? And he's like, come on, man. Get up. Go fight. And, yeah, that was a rough fight.
This will be my last question, but I really wanted to talk to you because I'm a huge fan of Joey Davis. And he's such a great kid. He's obviously extremely talented. He's been out for a little bit, but you said he's back in the gym now. I mean, tell us what the thought process is on him because, man, I can't wait to get him back in the. He's phenomenal,
bro. Best 170-pounder in the world. I don't care organization. I don't see anybody stopping his takedown. You could put Usman in front of him. And I guarantee Joey Davis will take Usman down. And I'll put my entire fucking bank account on that.
That's a good size bet.
You know what I mean? That's a good size bet. But that's how confident I am. I've been wrestling with this dude since I was 4 years old. Still to this day, I can't stop his fucking takedown. It's just it reminds me of Jordan Burroughs.
Yeah.
That double leg, he gets around your legs and it's over with. I stop his first move. I can't stop the second. I can't stop the third. Obviously, there's a weight factor in there, but still, man, I mean, he's just – you're going to have a lot on your hands. And, anybody that bounces back from the things and the lifestyle and just certain things, that fighters go through in life, it's usually the comeback story that make the greatest stories,
That's
and
right.
This is his story, man, and I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited to be along his side and helping him as much as I can day by day. And just within the last 6 months, I'm super proud of the growth he's made and just being in the gym. And he's kind of got a new style. It's kind of crazy. He's got a new style, dude. It's different. It's different, but you guys will see. I think 2023 we'll see him in action again. Hopefully, the LA card, man. Hopefully we get all Body Shop boys on that LA card. Sell the whole damn event out again.
Well, because if you look at the top guys in the 170-pound division in Bellator, can you pull that up for me, Dave? You've got Logan Storley, fantastic wrestler, 6-time state champ, 4-time All-American. You've got Yaroslav Amosov. He's got good wrestling. The two of them had a great match when they did fight each other. But when you look at when Joey left, I believe when he went away for this bit, he was ranked number 6 at the time. And for him to pop back in, I'm looking at this. I mean, you look at the guys there. You look at Douglas Lima, could be a fight for him to return on. Maybe one fight warm up because he's been out for almost 2 years now. It's been over 15 months because that's why they don't have him in the rankings anymore. But him against Kyle Kretschmer, him against Sabah Hamasi, him against Nyman Gracie, him against Korshkov, all of those would be enticing fights to bring him back on. I mean, or at least get him one fight and then maybe jump right into a top 10 guy. I look at him stylistically, though, for the top two guys, he's a nightmare matchup for both of them. For both of them. Power, speed, wrestling, submission defense, all of those things. Now, I know there's other guys in there, like Korshkov matches up well with anyone because he's so well-rounded. But, Jalil Willis just had a great fight. But I look at those guys, I'm like, on a day where Joey comes in and he's got a full camp, he's game, he's ready, do you see anybody beating him?
No. If I can't be undefeated, he'll be undefeated. that's the way that's gonna go.
It just seems like he'd pick it up where he left off from college. I'm just staying undefeated,
pretty much, 133-0, 4-time NCAA champ. Like, the proof's in the fucking pudding, man, and it's sweet. I mean, I admire his career, the way it's been. His highlight reel knockouts,
How can you not?
The spinning heel kicks. Like, fuck, dude, I want that on my highlight reel. Good. Like, why can't I get one of those, Like, but he's just, he's a freak of nature, man. And he's so calm about it. That's the crazy part. He's just so calm, nonchalant. Like, yeah. And it's phenomenal.
It's funny. I refereed Joey's first pro fight. And it was, he didn't know how to fight at the time. He was, phenomenal wrestler, but all the tools were not in place and stuff like that. And so he's in there and he's getting hit and he's wrestling. And he's kind of looking at me like, hey, can this guy do this? Joey, you know where you're at, right? And man, I'll tell you what, the progress from that first fight to his second fight was immense. It was when he decided, oh, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And now you take a look at him. His last fight, he was phenomenal. In his last fight. Phenomenal. Yeah. And like, Josh is saying, his style, those two, the number one, number two up there, champion, interim champion, his style fits perfectly with them.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, because I don't even look at I look at Michael Venom Page, Jason Jackson. Jason Jackson's dangerous for everyone because he's good at takedown defense. He's got good wrestling. He's just big though. He's big for the weight. He's tall. He's long. He's lanky. Good stand up. He poses the threat for everyone. Jason Jackson's the real deal. But I mean, he's like I said, those top three fighters. You got MVP in there. You got Logan Storley, Amosov. He's a nightmare matchup. Yeah. His style is just nightmare. Give us a little bit more of a hint on this new style though. What's this new style you're talking about?
It's looking good, man. His submissions are coming around. Put it that way. He's tapped my dad. He's tapped me. I'm not going to say with what, but his submissions are coming.
Come on.
Look, and he's been rolling with Jeremiah.
He's one of three guys.
With Jeremiah. So.
Okay.
Dave, did you hear that? Dave, did you hear that? It's Jeremiah, not Jamal. Okay, Jeremiah. It's Jeremiah Hill, not Jamal Hill. Okay, just want to let you know.
Well, hey, I just want to tell you, man, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here. I cannot wait to watch your fight against Roberto de Souza. That is a hell of a matchup. The main event of New Year's Eve in Japan. You are going to love it. You are going to call me before you go, and I'm going to tell you everything not to believe or to take or to listen to.
Dude, I'm taking my own Pedialyte and everything. I ain't playing them games.
There you go, baby. There you go, man. I know you're taking off in a couple days, so be safe, travel well. Happy New Year's, Merry Christmas, all that stuff. And, brother, just go do your thing.
Peace and blessings. I appreciate you guys for having me. And happy holidays to everybody out there. Appreciate the support. And make sure we go represent the U.S. of A, baby, and bring this W home. Let's go.
Hoo-wah!